Jacksonville, Kentucky, our Saturday night bash at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a replacement on the my helper today.
I wish it was. I'm glad it's not permanent.
Sticker teenagers taking the place of Sticker granddaughter. She's swimming with a boyfriend tonight.
Ew.
How's it going out there? What's on your mind? I'll get this off the table. The elephant in the room. The factory seal, Let It Be Naked from 2003. They sure causing a stir on the internet this week. Besides probably the biggest release in a couple of years, the 2014 mono box set. And I was right. I got a couple the first day, thanks to Patricia from Little Beatles Corner and Arthur. They sent me a message and I got it while they were still available. And I was saying there probably won't be hardly any the next day, and there wasn't hardly any the next day. Must have sold 5,000 of them. And they're done.
John H. said, "Good evening, Sticker family. Tisha Express is here. Polly said, hello, Sticker family and friends. Tisha said, can't believe he's early. Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse said, hit the like button for Frank, dear friends.
Uncle Paul's Pop Beatles Playhouse. You want to put that up by the camera?
Patricia said, hello, everybody.
You're the helper tonight.
I know, you're going to be doing a lot of this reading here the rest of it, right? Dan from Florida said, Sticker Team.
Okay, good.
Thomas Crook said, hello, Sticker family.
Show the t-shirt express.
Don't get so close, like right there. Dave Evans, hi Frank.
How you doing, Dave
family. T-shirt, there's a sticker boyfriend, laugh out loud. Little Beatles Corner, I got a mono box too, is what Patricia said. And Uncle Paul said, thanks Frank, hello everyone.
I didn't get greedy. I didn't buy 4. I bought 2 for one and for me and Kevin from Kevin Records, since he's been helping me on some estate sales lately.
And T-shirt said the package should be here Monday.
Yeah, we have an extra large butcher cover shirt coming from our buddy Bill that went to Abbey Road on the river with us. Thanks a lot, Polly from T-Shirt Express.
All right, John H. said something. It's on you. You're starting to read now. So what John H. said?
Would love to hear a joke from Sticker Branch tonight.
I don't know. I'm doing good just to have him read the messages. I don't think he came up with a joke.
No.
What do you think about the 2014 mono box set being reissued for one day? Do you think they'll make more? I don't think they will. I think they made 5,000 of them and they're being put together in Germany, and that'll be it. What do you think? All right, me and Kevin from Kevin Records went to a state sale today, and we saw a picture of a whole box of 8-track tapes that were in their original company sleeves and their title sleeves, like these 2 Led Zeppelins. And they let about 40 people in at 9 a.m. this morning, and they weren't in the garage, so I didn't think we were going to find them. And then my son found them right up against the fireplace, a whole box of about 60 8-track tapes from the 70s, all in the original company sleeves, or the title sleeves. I got some more title sleeves here.
T-shirt Express said there's some other stuff in there too. I guess he said, I appreciate that, Polly. And then Daniel said they said only 5K.
Oh no, that's what I'm thinking. If it sold out that quick, I don't see how they made more than 5,000 or 6,000 of them. But they had a limit of 4 in the United States, and they had a limit of 1 in England. And that caused the United States, I guess about every main record store in the United States, probably about 4 of them. So these came in there, and I'll clear the table off. We got a company sleeve, deep purple, made in Japan. Most all these are in the factory shrink. What I mean is the actual 8-track tape doesn't have a picture of the album, but the title sleeve does.
When he's done, you do the John H. because he's got something else on the mono box.
We got Neil Young Decade Part 1 and Part 2. In beautiful near mint condition. And we have Kiss Rock and Roll all over in the original Casablanca company sleeve. It's got to be worth something. We got a Greg Allman in the original title sleeve. See if I can get the black tape out of there. Now this one does have the artwork on the black 8-track tapes. Where the Led Zeppelin House of the Holy from 1973, it's got also has the album slick. But I think on this other one, Physical Graffiti, it only has the titles on the pink 8-track tape. I've had these pink 8-track tapes, Led Zeppelins, before. I know they're quite valuable.
Alright, do John H.
John H. said it should have been a limit of 1 per customer. 4 too many.
Yeah,
They're saying flippers are already having it on eBay for crazy high prices.
yeah. The couple have already been resold before they ever got them at $1,000 and $1,100. Only a couple yesterday, but that's pretty amazing. Then I got a Led Zeppelin 4 that's in a reddish orange shell, and it's in the original Atlantic company sleeve. All right, that's our 8-track tapes we bought
Do
today.
the record and training, go down, you got 4 comments.
Records and Trains said, hello everyone. Johnny Ramone said, I agree with Perry Cox's comments about the re-release.
About the what?
Re-release.
What's Perry Cox say about it?
He agrees with it.
No, but we need to know what did Perry Cox say, Johnny Ramone, and then do the Patricia. The Little Beatles corner.
A Little Beatles Corner said, I heard they sold the box in Canada and Germany besides the UK and the USA.
They sold it in Germany, they sold it in Australia, and Canada and the United States. That's all I know about. The last ones that have it was Germany and Australia. I think if you bought it the second day, you had to purchase one from an international Beatles store website that the United States didn't sell any the second day. And they even had a countdown, so that made no sense. They sold all theirs through the pre-order.
Do Johnny Ramone.
Johnny Ramone said, because they're no longer numbered, no collective value, they get amounts.
They can, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're already tying up the optimal pressing plan in Germany for 4 weeks. There'll be other albums that need to be pressed. I think this is it. We'll see. I mean, I predicted there wasn't going to be any available in the United States the second day, and Joe Mayo and a lot of people told me I was wrong, and I was right on.
Nicole said, good evening.
How you doing, Nicole?
And
That's it, we're
Sticker
good.
Teenager.
Sticker Teenager that's saying hi to you. So I got these today.
Smile. Put a smile on your face.
Put a smile. Smile. You got it?
I forgot how to smile.
You're doing good, though. You're reading messages. We got this at the estate sale today. They didn't list the pictures that they were going to have records, but Kevin went up to the upper bedroom, and there was a whole bunch of albums, and mostly all in the factory shrink, and I picked all the ones out with the hype stickers because, you know, I'm Mr. Stickermania. So I got a 38 special that has a 38 special on the hype sticker. I thought that was pretty cool. I got a Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet. The original price was $8.50. I got two ELOs. This one said Light Classics, their finest recordings from 1972 to 1976. ELO Greatest Hits, featuring the hit singles Telephone Line, Evil Woman, and Turn to Stone. The Beach Boys, featuring Get You Back, California Callin'. This is when Brian Wilson rejoined the group. Original price tag was $6.69. Boston, I got their first two albums. Two hype stickers, More Than a Feeling. And their other second album, Don't Look Back hype sticker. Tears for Fears. I know this has collectability. I saw Kurt Smith get out of his limo when I was in New York with 97X. Many years ago, 30 years ago, and I got his autograph before he got into his Rolls Royce. Hype sticker says, featuring Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Shout, and Mother's Talk. The Place, the audiophile pressing of Synchronicity, has a hype sticker for Every Breath You Take, Wrap Around Your Finger, King of Pain, and Synchronicity.
Dave Evans won another prize for the 38 special and the two Bostons.
38 special. Two Bostons. These are all near mint condition. Two Bostons and a 38 special. I spent some money to get these today. Three of them. With the hype stickers. $75 ship. Dave Evans.
And then Johnny Ramone said 2014 trumps the 2024 all day and all of the night. Daniel said, you want the slippery when wet? Japan pressing has the cover banned in America.
I've had it before. I like it.
Jeff McCoy said Beatles mono box set sold out on Beatles store now. They stipulate 2 per person.
You mean they have more?
I don't know. It sold out is what he said. I don't know why he said 2 per person. Maybe that's what they meant. They went back and told people that got 4 that they could only have 2.
So they have some. They're going to cancel some sales.
I don't know.
Boy, that'll be bizarre if they cancel these record stores and tell them they can only have 2.
Dave Evans.
Bruce Springsteen with the hype sticker.
He said he paid.
All right, so these 3 are sold. I've already sold something tonight. Hallelujah. We're doing good.
And then John H. said the 2014 release was not numbered either.
They never were numbered. Nobody knows how many they made in 2014. They hung around the stores for several years. They were discounted. And the Beatles camp, I think, was nervous that they had overleft inventory. And so that's probably why they only made 5,000 to 6,000 this time. But boy, the demand is so much higher now because of COVID and so many more people into vinyl. Last one I have is Georgia Satellites with this great big hype sticker for Georgia Satellites and Open All Night. I saw Georgia Satellites at Bogart's 30 years ago, and I bought the lead singer a drink in the upper level bar.
Novus Nick said, hi, Sticker family.
How you doing, Novus Nick?
Daniel Castillo said, I got the 2014 for a bargain. Crazy how much they sell for now.
Why didn't you read my comment?
Because you're not supposed to be commenting about being hungry when we're trying to do a stream. You were told that we're doing the stream. And you
I don't want to be in the stream.
Well, it's not always about what you want.
Yeah, well,
I
wish for food.
Let's all get along.
You should have ate earlier.
So Thursday, me and my son, the director, we went to, I won a Beatles scrapbook online on a state auction. And we had to go to Cincinnati to pick it up.
What'd you do at the police because someone's asking about the police.
The
album.
Police Synchronicity.
Alan C. Records wants to know if the police album is a translucent
It
purple
is.
vinyl.
It is a translucent. I thought most all the synchronicities were translucent. Now let's look. Alan C. Records, we saw you in Chicago. This is not translucent. Sorry.
Sorry, I just he asked that. Dave Evans sent money, so appreciate it, Dave.
Alright, let's put the synchronicity away. I was talking, but let's get on the scrapbook.
Yeah, give me that. You can go back to your scrapbook. I know that was the story you wanted to get on.
So anyway, when the scrapbook was listed in the online estate auction, they showed this. They showed a whole newspaper from the day after, which is September 5th of 1964. This is a complete newspaper. And they showed this, the program, and they showed the special program that was only made for Milwaukee. I think Chicago had one that looked like this also, where it has George Harrison's name under John Lennon and John Lennon's name under George Harrison. So I put 2 plus 2 together, and I figured if it had all this, the lady's estate, she had to go to the concert. So about halfway home, I'm looking through the scrapbook when my son's driving me home, and there, behold, loose in the scrapbook was a $3.50 ticket stub to see the Beatles the day after they were at the Indianapolis State Fair. They went to Milwaukee. And no, I'm not going to sell that ticket stub by itself. It goes with the scrapbook and the program. And it even has on hotel, Milwaukee Hotel Shorter stationery. It's got the set list of 12 songs, and it has description what George, Paul, Ringo, and John, what they did during the show. So that's pretty cool. And it's even got of the press conference, what do you call this again?
The transcript.
Transcript of most of the press conference. I'll read a few of them to you here. It says, "How is John's throat and what did the doctor say?" Paul answered, "Well, John's throat is just a bit sore and raw, but it will be all right. He sounds a bit croaky from singing every night." Well, the doctor came in and said, "Hello, boys." And we said, "Hi, Doc." Question, "Paul, are you married?" "No, I'm not, but no one believes me, but I'm not." George, "I believe you, Paul." Paul, "Thanks." Ringo, "Do you love me?" "Please believe me." Ringo says, "Yes, okay, I believe you." So that's pretty cool. There's some other things, but I'll leave it at that for now. All right, let's put that away.
So, you come up with a joke, and then you can leave if you come up with a good joke. You gotta come up with a good joke if you want to
I
leave.
thought he was going to be moderator.
I thought he was too, but he's not doing a good job, so he's sitting there pouting. He's writing in the stream that he's
So on
hungry.
the 2 days, the show was on a Friday night, and 2 days later on a Sunday, they put color photos of the Beatles in concert in Milwaukee. You got Ringo up there on top, the fans going crazy, a girl with "I love Ringo" and "I love the Beatles" button. From September 6, 1964.
Uncle Paul said the doctor came in stinking of gin. Laugh out loud.
Yep.
And then Alan C. Records said not all of them were translucent.
Yeah.
Or translucent.
But they're all supposed to, it says right on the hype sticker that it's audiophile pressing. Then I got this in yesterday I won this through an online auction, a Beatles scrapbook from 1964, all loaded with things to do with Jacksonville, Florida. So the concert was 1 week after the other one on a Friday night, September 11th, 1964. There's a real nice ticket stub to see the Beatles in Jacksonville. On September 11th, 1964, the ticket was $5. And it's kind of cool they didn't tear the ticket down to the middle so you can see all 4 Beatles images on the ticket stub. And the girl that had this estate, she also went to Jacksonville concerts to see Peter and Gordon in 1964 and the Dave Clark 5 in 1964. And then in 65, she saw the Rolling Stones and the Beach Boys. But she has this was in the scrapbook, and I don't even see this in Terry Crane's book. We wish Terry Crane has a full recovery from his car crash he was in. Mikey told me about that the other day. But this is pretty cool. This, I think Eric Cash was interested in this, is Beatles jewelry brooch. It looks different than the normal brooch pins. It's got Gibson on top of the guitar. And it has the little booklet that pulls out, and there's photos of the Beatles inside this little booklet. That was in the scrapbook. But this is the cool thing, I think, that I found. Historical fact that I figured out from this scrapbook. I'm all about discovering historical facts. So she went to the Hard Day's Night premiere, and this ticket is different than the ones I usually have, larger, and it's not the shape of the Beatles. It says all seats $1 total. It says no reserved seats, capacity only will be sold. Florida Theater, Jacksonville. And then she got their souvenir badge. But on this note here of the ad for A Hard Day's Night, it says on the bottom, it says, watched all 6 shows that day, stayed at theater for almost 14 hours, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. You can't tell me that the girls weren't going crazy about the Beatles at that time. That was August 14th. That's before she saw the Beatles in concert on September 11th. And there's something other interesting about this concert, if I can find it. I don't think I have it right there right now, but anyway, there was a Dora hurricane at about the same time period as the Beatles were supposed to perform in Jacksonville, so they got detoured to Key West a couple days before the show, but they did show up that night, February 11th. But only 20,000 people of the 28,000 people that bought tickets for the Gator Bowl. I had a postcard for the Gator Bowl in here somewhere.
Johnny Moan said Uncle Paul made a baseball hat.
Made a baseball hat?
Yeah. Uncle Paul said perhaps good idea.
But anyway, to get to the bottom of the story and move on here.
That was one comment to read.
It was real windy the day the Beatles performed, and John Lennon said they wouldn't perform before a segregated audience, so they made sure the audience wasn't segregated before the Beatles showed up that day. And one other thing is the 8 cameramen that filmed the Indianapolis show on September 3rd and the Philadelphia on September 6th, they tried to show up for Jacksonville to film a lot of the concert, and they were selling 8mm films on it, and the Beatles were getting no money from it. And Derek Taylor told the police to go after the 8 cameramen, and the police would cover up their lens, and they escorted them out of the stadium before the Beatles would come on. Because the Beatles did not make any money when that camera crew, if you ever watched the whole Indianapolis concert on YouTube, that's done by the same camera crew. So that's another little historical fact. All right, that's my 2 scrapbooks.
I read Brad and then Daniel.
What's up, Frank? I went to Winter First Day and had a great time.
Speak up, speak up.
Oh!
Say that all again. Say his name.
First day
You
of
didn't
what?
even say his name.
Brad Parnell.
Brad Parnell.
What's up, Frank? I went to Winter First Day and had a great
Today,
time.
and had a great time.
Is he talking about? Is he talking about?
Stop. Let him finish.
Is he talking about Abbey Road on the river?
I don't know.
He must be talking about Abbey. Is that what you're talking about, Brad? That going to Abbey Road on the river down in Jeffersonville?
Can I continue?
Yes.
Daniel Castillo said, ironic how the Beatles were against segregation and a lot of African Americans accused the Beatles of destroying their careers.
Yeah, you're right. But they also helped a lot of careers. Looks like a Chuck Berry, Roll Over Beethoven, rock and roll music. His career was back in full gear when the Beatles covered those
Johnny
songs.
Ramone's asking about the thing behind you.
What's that?
The Sgt. Pepper.
The Sgt. Pepper. This is a 3D promotional for Canada only. There could only be 5 to 10 of these in the world. It's 3D, the drums are out, then the 4 Beatles, and then the background. And that is expensive to ship if you're interested in it. That would be $550. Sgt. Pepper 3D promotional poster 1987's the 20th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper.
Read Brad's now.
Brad Parnell said, no, Winterfest if it's a trade show for model fans,
Oh, I got you.
as well as pop culture convention.
Gotcha. Good job. You're trying to read it and project. Good job. You're trying. Giving you credit. So I got this in with Kevin from Kevin Records, another estate sale. These are all Capitol Keynotes, Capitol Record Club that you would get if you belong to the Capitol Record Club. You get one of these every month in the mail from it was all the way through the 60s, but I went after the 64, 65, 66 issues. No, there's no 67 issues, so I missed Sgt. Pepper, but this is the back of one of them, and it promotes Meet the Beatles and the Beatles' second album. And Dr. Winston O'Boogie says I'm missing Beatles 6, but I have these were, maybe it wasn't the Swinger Selection of the Month, but the Swinger Selection of the Month, that means you automatically got a cent in the mail if you were belonged to the Capitol Record Club. That month you got the second album, Beatles' second album. Then you got Beatles Something New on another month. The Beatles Story towards the end of 1964, the 2 LP documentary. Beatles 65, this would have been at the Christmas of 1964. So even though it says Beatles 65, it was actually released in 64. That's in the middle of these Keynote magazines that I bought a whole lot of in an auction. I'm the only one who thought that there would be Beatles in the middle of it. The Beatles Help. And these are pretty cool. This is when they made the issues bigger. They were a bigger size in 66. This is right at the end, 65. I said that wrong on the short for Rubber Soul. That was the Swinger Selection of the Month. Can you imagine automatically getting shipped album Rubber Soul? How about if you actually got shipped in the mail a butcher cover? I bet that didn't happen. Yesterday and today with a trunk cover. And then this is cool. This is Beach Boys on the cover. And then Pet Sounds was a swinger selection of the month. And you know that Paul McCartney was heavily influenced by Pet Sounds when he thought about recording Sgt. Pepper.
Brad's talking about, you had talked about this last stream, the Let It Be Naked. He's asking if you had seen the Wings of Pegasus video.
Yes.
About they digitally corrected it.
Yes, yeah. I talked about that, Brad, but I'll bring it up again. So in 1998, I guess they came up with the software to do auto-tune, correct the vocals, and then they used it in 2003 on this pressing. The Wings of Pegasus said they used it on Along and Winding Road, but that's the only song that he was did all the work on. But I'm sure a lot of these other tracks have the same thing that was added, auto-tune. So after that came out, I'm just gonna listen to my original pressings now from the 60s, 70s, all the way up to 1980. That's gonna be my focus. This is my Let It Be first press, United Kingdom with the red apple, -2, or 2U matrices. Listen to the Phil Spector Wall of Sound production. There's a reason Long and Winding Road was #1 in the United States, and Phil Spector had a lot to do with it. That came out of my 1970 UK Beatles Let It Be box set. This is in beautiful, excellent condition. It's on my STICKERMANIA 2853 eBay store.
I can't reach it.
I know, just do Brad's comment and then come back to Johnny.
It's like they lied to
No,
us.
do it right.
It's like they lied to us. True.
It's like they lied to us. Say it clearly.
It's like they lied to us. Though. Let It Be Naked was supposed to be that stripped down record.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
my God.
a lot of people are bummed out about it. Joe Mayo, he said he didn't really care. He doesn't really listen to this album anymore, but this used to have a lot of value, but I think this is factory sealed. I think the value's gone down some in the last week.
Smells like bad advertising to me.
Johnny Ramone.
Do we have enough people watching when we do the trivia question?
Yeah.
Johnny Ramone said,
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce that either. Diog. How would that be pronounced, Dad? Do you know? Is that a term?
Yeah, the Andrew from Polygram's Auctions talks about it all the time.
don't touch me.
Those special pressings that they made. I love the Phil Spector Long Winding Road. Yes. All right, here's our trivia question contest for the night. In my 8-track box I found by the fireplace today, there were 2 sets.
Well, real quick, Novus Dick want to know what the Let It Be was going for.
Let It Be Naked?
Yeah.
Or the Let It Be
The boxing.
The box.
The box.
Naked. Huh?
The Naked. Is
Oh yeah, the Let It Be Naked I would sell for so I get shipping costs $220 shipped. Factory sealed 2003 Let It Be Naked. Don't think I'll be opening and listening to that.
Read Richard James before he goes.
Richard James.
Sounds like a boring comment to me.
What's Richard James say? Pay attention.
Richard James said, Can you give us something to stick a kid? He's such a fun character, fat. Oh, wait, can we give us...
You got him going.
How do you read that? How do you...
Alright, let it go. Go ahead and do your thing.
Alright, trivia question contest. No more messages for a second. Let's get through the trivia questions. So there were 2 sets of these. in the box we found by the fireplace today, in the shrink and the company sleeves, Apple capital sleeves, volume 1, volume 2. I'm giving away one set of them, keeping one for myself. And here are the 3 questions.
What do you think? Can we get some love? Did you not get it?
So you got, on the first question, you just need to get one of these 2 songs, and you have to have all 3 of these answers in the same message. Here we go. Which 2 songs had a mono mix when this album came out in the United States? The Blue Album. What happened to the Blue Album? Here we go. When this came out in the United States, 2 songs had a mono mix instead of a stereo mix. Question 2. Which song was trimmed by 9 seconds for this original release? Trimmed by 9 seconds. And number 3, this is a little tougher. Which album kept this album from being number 1 in the United Kingdom in 1973 on the record charts? Another artist had a number 1 album that kept this from going to number 1. This went to number 1 in the United States, but in the United Kingdom it only made it to number 2. What was the name of the album by the other artist that was number 1 at the same time? All right, I need to repeat the questions.
Remember, all 3 answers in the same line, please.
All 3 answers in the same line.
Look at Uncle Paul first.
Uncle Paul, let's see, Uncle Paul's the first one. No.
John H.
No.
That's all we got so far.
You had one right there, Uncle Paul. T-shirt Express. No. Richard James. No. Band on the Run was not number 1 when the Blue Album came out. Any other? Want me to see the questions one more time? You guys have got 2 of the correct answers in some of the messages. Which 2 songs, you got to get one of them, had a mono mix on this album? Some of you have that right on the first release. Which song was trimmed by 9 seconds on this release? Some of you have that right. Nobody's got it right yet. Which album was number 1 in 1973 that kept this from going to number 1 in the United... No, I said that wrong. Which album by another artist was number 1 on the UK charts the same time this was number 2 on the charts?
Hi, Elliot, and then Richard James, and Daniel.
This is the artist is not related to the Beatles. Nope. It's not Elton John. It's not Pink Floyd. Nope. All right, Johnny Ramone. I don't know why you said 2 of them though. Oh, you're getting closer, Johnny Ramone. You almost had it. The album is not Laden Sane Band on the Run. We're gonna have to give it to Johnny Ramone. He added it he had the answer. All right, Johnny Ramone. This was the number 1 album in the United Kingdom. So,
Stop putting your foot on my hand!
So the 2 songs that had a mono mix on this release, let's get through this. Let me get this done. Penny Lane and Hello Goodbye. Which song was trimmed by 9 seconds? Hey Jude. Which album was number 1 in England that kept this from going to number 1? It was David Bowie, Aladdin Sane. Good job, Johnny Ramone.
Here's the email, Johnny Ramone. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, so get a hold of us at Mr._StickerMania@yahoo.com, Johnny Ramone, and send me your shipping address.
Thanks for playing, everybody. Make sure to give a like and some subscribers. We need 27 more for the Butcher cover giveaway.
27 more before we give away this West Coast peeled butcher cover I won at the Fest for Beatle fans in New Jersey a few months ago when I was there with Mikey Arugula, and we'll both be in Chicago August 8th and 9th, and we'll be leaving on the 10th. 27 more. All right, we made it through the trivia question contest.
Finally.
Couple notes about Chappell Roan.
Where's your joke?
I'll make it short. Got this in. This is a poster for her 2024 The Midwest Princess Tour. And she signed this, and you had to be a VIP at the sound check. This was from Cincinnati on March 10th at the Andrew Brady Music Center. And the historical thing about this concert, this was their first ever sold out show. They had to move it to a different venue. The demand was so high. That's almost over a year ago. And she performed in Warsaw, Poland last night before about 30,000 people. She sang 19 songs. She has 2 new people in her band. She has 6 people in her band now. And she wore her costume when she came out at the beginning. She started with After Midnight. She had what looked like to me a 3-tier wedding cake outfit. And she did do Barracuda by Heart last night. And tonight at the same Warsaw, Poland festival, Charlie XCX is closing. And I told you that Pink Pony Club was going to go to number 1 again. It is number 2 in England on the new charts for next week, and it's got a green arrow that is zooming to 1 to take the place of Alex Warren Ordinary.
She didn't win anything at the awards, right? John H.
No, she didn't win anything, but she had already left for Europe. And another song I like a lot is this Raylene, I don't know how to say her last name, Lenae, Love Me Not. It's a real catchy song. And Sombra, the one I talked about, the 19-year-old from New York, he has 2 of the top 5 songs, Back to Friends and Undressed, on Spotify. All right, that's my Chappell Roan moment. All right, any other questions before I start showing anything?
We are good right now. Because Elliot said he forgot to email you. I turned this to email you about the pictures or the sleeves.
Sleeves, I pulled out my company sleeves today. Here we go, Elliot. We got a dark blue 1964 that was in the first of the Meet the Beatles. And then we got a light blue that was in the second later pressings of Meet the Beatles from 64. We got the Beatles' second album, and Something New was in this late 1964 sleeve. This must have been the early 1965 sleeve. This was like a transition sleeve before they put the album covers back on. This just says Capitol Records Incorporated on the company sleeve. I've had Beatles Story before that had that inner sleeve. Then you got the Rubber Soul came out with this inner sleeve. And of course we know the Butcher cover and Rubber Soul came out with that inner sleeve.
Read T-shirt Express comment.
I can't. Oh, where it is.
It's the very last one.
Oh, I found it.
Now Elliot is, but yeah, do T-shirt Express.
T-shirt Express said, Frank, I'm working on making butcher cover statues.
All right, Butcher cover statues. All right, so I got this from the 8-track box I got today, and this is in the company sleeve in the shrink, the green 8-track of Jethro Tull. Aqualung, and that's one that doesn't have the album artwork on the actual 8-track tape. But it goes perfectly with another one that I got in the factory shrink today of Jethro Tull first press of Aqualung. Original price has a $4.49 from 1970s. 71. So if you're interested in this pair of Jethro Tull memorabilia, I would sell that for $50. The album and the 8-track tape matching. Jethro Tull Aqualung.
What are you saying?
I said you got a joke yet.
No!
We got 15 minutes and you're coming up with a joke.
Oh, I got 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm staying rest.
Alright, let's show some more things. I have 4 company sleeves left of the 10 I had. Of the original 1965. This is the last thing VJ ever did for the Beatles. They put their oldies but goodies records in there, and these look like if they had records in them, they were taken out right away when they were first issued. And these are $150 shipped. I have 4 left of the 10. If you're interested, get a hold of me at my Mr. _.
Indeed, the John H is asking
Mr.
about
_STICKERMANIA at yahoo.com. 4 left of these practically near mint, original, authentic. They got the glue lines. If you ever see these without the glue lines, they're not authentic.
Is the Aqua Long Low on repress or Chrysalis? I don't know how that is.
What you want to know what label it's on?
Yeah.
There is the inner sleeve, and it even has a lyric sleeve for Aqualung. And the record is on green chrysalis.
Chrysalis, that's how
Shouldn't that be the first issue? So what did I say? That those two together were $50, didn't I say?
I believe it.
Excellent condition record, first press, in the shrink, and the 8-track tape. You never find a nicer original 8-track tape of Aqualung than that one right there. Alright, got 15 more minutes. Let's show some more things. Let's pull things out here and show rapid fire. Got this from the today at the estate sale, Wings Greatest, with the hype sticker for all the Wings Greatest hit songs right on there. And it has, this will be $20, and it's got the original poster that came with it. Linda, Paul, and Denny Lane. R.I.P. Denny Lane.
John H said if it's U.S. first issue, wouldn't it be reprised? Or whatever, I guess is that the name of the other?
Reprise. I don't know enough about Jethro Tull. This says Chrysalis Records on it also. Somebody in the chat let me know if they were originally on Reprise. I'm thinking they were on Chrysalis by the time Aqualung, but I could be wrong. It says 1971 Chrysalis Records, Warner Boulevard, Burbank, California.
T-shirt Express, you want what? He said he wants that, but that was before you pulled that out, so it must have been what you had on the table or something. I don't know. What do you want, T-shirt Express? Polly?
T-shirt Express. What you want, Polly? I sold this today, my 1964 August excellent condition Life magazine with the Beatles on the cover. This was all about them coming to America.
The Wings.
Polly wants the Wings.
Sorry about that, I didn't catch it quick enough.
We'll put that there for Polly. I have your shipping address. We'll mail it out on Monday. All right, what else do I have to show? Somebody mentioned last week that Bruce Spicer describes in this books all the Capitol inner sleeves are with the different Beatle albums. This is a beautiful condition, part 1, part 2 in the slipcase. And I'd sell that for $250 shipped of the Beatles story on Capitol Records, Bruce Spicer.
And Elliot Kid's asking about the McFarlane Beetle toys again. He asking,
McFarlane Beetle, Yellow Submarine. I
on.
used to deal in them years ago. That's not my focus anymore. I don't buy the newer stuff. I'm too busy trying to search out original Beatles memorabilia that has historical meaning, like those scrapbooks.
And reopen it.
I did that like 2 times.
That's my, still have this George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, first issue with the apple on the end. And it's an excellent hardly played condition, and the spine, it hadn't been separated. It's still beautiful shape, has a poster in there. I'm not going to pull it out. But no takers at $100 shipped. I'd sell that at $80 shipped. First pressing of George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, with a Phil Spector production. It's like Let It Be. This is the way you want to hear it. You don't want to hear the remix. You want to hear the wall of sound from Phil Spector, and George Harrison had a lot to do with it also.
Danny Goldstein said, I just joined. Frank, did you see the lot of Julian's that had a collection of 12 of John's 78s from 1957 and
No.
58?
No, John owned some 78s.
I guess, yeah.
I bet they were like my Lonnie Donegan that I got in the other room, Rock Island Line, or Little Richard. Got this at the estate sale today. It was in one room where they had some CD box sets. Got the original hype sticker. It says 4 compact disc, 54 tracks, running time 4 hours and 50 minutes. You interested in this Led Zeppelin box set? That would be $60 shipped. Led Zeppelin 1994 compact disc box set.
Yeah, Johnny Ramon, we got your email. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We got this in. You saw me. Nicole knows about my Tommy UK that she bought, my first pressing on track. Well, I guess a year or two after the first pressing, they came out with part 1 and part 2 from Track Records in the United Kingdom. And no, it doesn't. The Pinball Wizard doesn't sound quite as good as the one that Nicole got. Still pretty nice, better than the USA pressings of Tommy.
Oh, you are gonna get banned from the chat.
I would sell this for volume 1, volume 2. I'd sell it at, has a lyric sheet in there. $75 shipped. Tommy. Part 1 and part 2 on Track Records from England.
Danny Goldstein said, from Elvis, 1 from Little Richard, a couple from Lonnie Donegan,
I told you.
1 from the Goons. I lost it at the end, and they
The
came
Goons, the one that George Martin produced.
and they came in John's leather briefcase, 12,400.
All right.
And then
That was Heritage Auction. No, that was Julian's.
and then Daniel said, Castillo said, any B updates on the Decca edition?
I don't know any more about the Decade Edition, if they're going to include it with the anthology. And like Ken Michael says today, we're all speculating it's going to be anthology this Christmas season, but nobody knows for sure. Nobody knew about that Beatles mono box set except the Apple camp. They must have, everybody must have been sworn to secrecy. They came out with that announcement. They had the emails go to people that belong to the subscribe to the Beatles store, like me and Mazzy and all of us Beatle freaks. We subscribe to the Beatles store, And thanks to Patricia and Arthur, as soon as I got home from Cincinnati, I purchased 2 of them. And I must have been right on the tail end before they ran out. All right, we showed the Let It Be box set. Talk about this one more time. I'm never going to stop talking about this. A guy over in Europe did a shootout of all his best Beatles for sales, but he only went with the mono pressings. And I told him, I sent him a message. I said the -1 tube cut stereo mix of Beatles for sale is one of the best sounding Beatle pressings of all time. And he sent me a message back. He says, yes, it is a killer. It's like the Beatles are playing right in the room. This is a hardly played, excellent condition, 1968 pressing. But I have a firm price of $250 shipped on this audiophile pressing. I lost out on the Magical Mystery Tour German pressing that Perry Cox had up for auction yesterday on eBay. We got anything else to show before we round this out?
No, because he's sitting there freaking writing all this stuff.
I'm not doing anything.
That's not cool.
I'm not doing anything.
So this is the 2012 remastered, but what makes these audiophile pressings, they are made in Germany, EU, rather than the ones in the United States that don't sound as good. But these have a digital step, and who knows if, hopefully they're not auto-tuned. But from now on, I'm only going to search for audiophile pressings 1980 and before. So that's 45 years ago.
Dave Evans sent you the $80 for the George Harrison All Things Must Pass.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave Evans. You got that and those other ones. Good job.
Frank, Daniel said, Frank, your mono box set will be for resale?
No, one was for me. It could be for resale. The other one's for Kevin or Kevin Records. Kevin from Kevin Records. Search him out. He's in Louisville, Kentucky. He is on the internet. He has a business. He alerted me to all these 8-track tapes and all these ones in shrink with hype stickers that we got today. I got these from Uncle Paul to close us out. This is a factory sealed record store day from 2017 of A Whiter Shade of a Pale EP. And you know that John Lennon, when his Rolls Royce, he had speakers down by his the walls of his wheels and his Rolls Royce, and he would go through, when he got off recording with the Beatles at 2 a.m, he would be playing A Whiter Shade of Pale and wake up the neighbors. But I would sell this 50th anniversary. It's got 4 songs on it. It's got 3 songs: Whiter Shade of Pale, Lime Street Blues, and A Whiter Shade of Pale, the full instrumental. And then there's a song called Alpha and Salad Days Are Here Again. But if you're interested in that from 2017, that's a long time ago. That would be $100 factory sealed record store day. Procol Harum.
Uncle Paul said the instrumental is great on that.
All right. And another thing I got from Uncle Paul is this record store day of Andre 3000, where he covers the Yellow Submarine track All Together Now. And my eyesight, I can't tell what year it is. Looks like it's about 2000, about over 10 years old. It's factory sealed, All Together Now, Andre 3000. Sell that for $40 shipped.
And then Daniel Castillo says, still prefer the box tops covers of the Whiter Shade of the Pale.
Box top cover, you like it better than Procol Harum? Procol Harum's the one that made it a hit. Well, to each their own. I guess we all have different ears.
Dave Evans said, thanks, Frank.
So I got, thank you, Dave. Got these 2 Club Sandwich magazines. So it was put out by Paul McCartney from the Wings Fun Club. I think this is after the Fun Club, after Wings broke up. But we got the 1981 Merry Christmas with the upside down picture of Paul and Linda. These are in perfect shape. And I got the John Lennon tribute from the next issue of 1981 Wings Fun Club. So the Wings Fun Club still existed after Wings broke up.
Daniel said yes, but sometimes covers can be better.
Covers can be better. Do you think the Elton John Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds that went to #1 is better than the Beatles cover? I wouldn't think so.
And then Brad asked if the Andre 3000 is a dude from Outkast. Danny said yes.
Yes.
Brad. And
Yeah, Andrew 3000 is from Outkast. But if you ever watched the video of Hey Ya, it's a takeoff of the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. He is a Beatle freak. Andre 3000. All right, I think we must be at an hour by now.
Let's think of Brad have a joke to close this out.
No,
Yeah.
man.
Otis
Here, get over in
Redding.
the chair.
I don't like the
Daniel
joke.
said Otis Redding did a better version of My Girl than the Temptations.
Gotcha. But you can't say that Otis Redding did a better version of I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
And then Greg Field.
If we did, I tend to disagree.
Greg Field said, Frank, we got to play the whiter shade of pale Hammond organ in Abbey Road Studio.
That's pretty
2
cool,
came
Greg.
from the Trident Studios.
Trident, yeah. The Trident's where they recorded Hey Jude and a few of the Beatle tracks.
And then Brad said the only Beatles cover I'd consider being better would be Joe Cocker's with the little help.
I kind of agree with you. When he does it with a little help from my friends at Woodstock, it's quite a dramatic rendition. He kind of did it his style. He did it much different than the Beatles.
John H. said, I love Ringo's All-Stars Whiter Shade of Pale live with Gary
Brooker. Yep, Gary Brooker is the man that he's no longer with us that sang that song. And Ringo Starr's All-Star Band is going to be here at the Bourbon Beyond the first week of September here in Louisville, Kentucky. He's here the same day that the White Stripes are here and the Pixies, and I'll be going.
Danny Goldstein said Wilson Pickett's Hey
Jude.
I guess he meant Hey Jude. He didn't put the J.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but not nearly as good as the Beatles.
Yeah, every time I hear the Beatles, Hey Jude, at the music system at our grocery store, or She Loves You, or I Want to Hold Your Hand, the hairs on the back of my neck, I can't focus on anything but listening to that song until it's over. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just going to be that way the rest of my life. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed our live stream. We wishing well to Terry Crane that he gets better. And I think I showed everything I needed to show
Remember,
this
get
time.
us in 27 subscribers.
27 subscribers. Maybe next Saturday we can be giving away the Butcher cover and that big 4 foot by 5 foot enlarged photo I have of the girls at Shea Stadium will be here by next Wednesday from UPS. Thanks a lot. Sticker Kid did his best. Good job there, Sticker Kid. Now you're done. All right, see you from Louisville, Kentucky.